So the Trump administration has just sent out a very, very stark warning to all of the grocery stores in America, basically threatening them and threatening any organization that tries to offer help to food stamp recipients that may be going hungry right now. There was a document sent out this morning because apparently they are more concerned about big box grocery stores and local pantries giving things and allowing discounts for people who may otherwise not have the money, that they sent out this document stating that they could face federal repercussions and regulations if they give discounts to food stamp recipients or people who otherwise might not be able to get food. They sent out what they called a retailer's notice saying that authorized retailers must comply with the SNAP equal treatment rule. Mind you, they're not receiving SNAP right now, so they're picking and choosing what parts of SNAP to use. We're not going to use the SNAP contingency fund for these people, but you do as a retailer have to still follow the guidelines, even though those SNAP benefits are not being used to put any guidelines in. It says you must offer eligible food at the same prices and on the same terms and conditions to SNAP EBT customers as other customers, except the sales tax cannot be changed on SNAP's purchases. You cannot treat SNAP EBT customers differently than any other customer. Offering discounts on services, it could be a violation to SNAP equal treatment waiver. Besides the fact that private companies can do whatever the fuck they want, I will remind you, if they're not receiving SNAP benefits, they are not beholden to your SNAP equal rights. And they really think Fox News and like all these news stations are like trying to make black people the face of this, and it's not black people. So y'all do with the information as you want, but this administration is more concerned about proving a point and keeping people hungry, to the point where they're telling people do not allow certain individuals to get discounted food or donate to food pantries. It's crazy.
Hi guys, so stores are being threatened for trying to feed the hungry. The Trump administration just warned grocery stores that if they dare give free food or discounts to SNAP recipients, they will be punished. This is not compassion, this is control. And cruelty might just be the goal. America, tighten your seatbelt because it's getting darker by the day. I'm Tiana and you are watching Tiana's React. Well, let's dive in and see people's reactions to this. But before we do, please do well to like, share, and of course, subscribe to keep the channel moving.
Donald Trump doesn't care about poor people. A statement that we all can agree is true. Which is why it's really confusing that his base, which is MAGA, are mainly poor people. The Trump administration sent out a memo to groceries and grocery stores telling them they cannot provide or offer discounted goods to those people who have lost their SNAP benefits. The USDA sent out a memo to several grocers around the country who had planned to offer discounted produce and discounted goods to those recipients who have lost SNAP, telling them that they cannot treat SNAP recipients any differently, they cannot price things differently, and that they had to offer things at the regular price. This comes at the same time that Donald Trump threw a elaborate, lavish party for Halloween, spending millions of dollars to host people, while millions of people who are mainly in his base lose access to food, all because he doesn't want to guarantee that millions of people remain insured under affordable health care. Do you see how crazy that sounds? I have personally lived in a country that had a dictator that through lavish events, lavish weddings, lavish parties, where the bulk of the population was living under $1 a day. And where's that dictator? Not alive. We've seen this time and time and time again, where these people in power, they live a elaborate, lavish life, while people who supported them are living in austerity and destitution. And this is currently happening in America. Donald Trump has the lowest rating amongst white people that he's ever had from his first term until now, until he's been reelected. And I'm like, are people finally waking up to the fact that he doesn't give a fuck about you? It's not just people who look like me he doesn't care about. He doesn't care about poor people in general, because the poor people somehow always have his back. Groceries are higher, gas is higher, expenses are higher, the economy is down, but guess what's not down? Donald Trump's coffers. This is the president that has made billions of dollars since he's come into office.
The Trump administration is threatening grocery stores with losing the ability to accept SNAP and EBT benefits if they offer discounts to individuals that receive SNAP and EBT benefits, even as the Trump administration's only going to pay a partial payment this month, and then only because a federal judge demanded that they do it and found them withholding these payments were illegal. So the Trump administration today, according to Newsweek, began sending out emails to grocery store chains across the country saying, hey, if you offer any discounts to SNAP and EBT individuals, well, you'll lose your right to accept SNAP and EBT payments under the equal treatment rule, which requires grocery stores to charge the same amount of money to SNAP and EBT recipients as it does anybody else. But that doesn't matter if they're not using their SNAP and EBT card. A grocery store could, in theory, offer a discount for individuals who receive SNAP benefits but aren't using them. But the Trump administration says, no, if you do that, you will lose access to the EBT payment system. They're being cruel for the sake of being cruel. They're harming people for the sake of harming people. They're doing it for political gain, thinking it will pressure Democrats into reopening the government. When Democrats want to, they want to negotiate. Remember, Republicans are the ones that are refusing to negotiate with Democrats. They're being cruel to American citizens instead of doing their jobs.
So let me get this straight. We're in the middle of a government shutdown. Millions of people can't access their SNAP benefits. And now this administration's USDA has told grocery stores not to give discounts or help anyone struggling? You have to ask, what kind of government looks at hungry families and says, no compassion allowed? The USDA claims it's enforcing what's called the equal treatment rule, that stores have to charge SNAP recipients the same price as everyone else. But that rule was designed to prevent discrimination, not to punish people for being poor. They could easily issue a waiver to let stores help families during this crisis. They choose not to. So grocery stores who want to lower prices or give discounts to people using SNAP cards are being threatened with losing their eligibility. Imagine that. Punishing kindness. People are rationing food, parents are skipping meals, and the message from this government is, don't help them. They're good. This isn't policy. It is cruelty disguised as order. Bureaucracy being used like a weapon. And it tells you everything about who this administration values. Because when hunger becomes political leverage, morality is gone. No one with power should ever be okay with watching people starve and then telling others they can't help. That's not governance. That's moral decay.
I cannot believe that I'm going to say this, but the Trump administration now warning grocery stores not to give special treatment to the people who have lost their SNAP benefits or, who are getting half of their benefits they're used to, even as millions struggle to afford food. Like, according to documents sent to retailers, the USDA told stores they could face penalties. Penalties, guys, if they offer discounts or extra help specifically to SNAP customers, the people that need the help. This comes as nearly 42 million Americans are receiving only half of their food stamp benefits. And just yesterday, the administration was saying there might not even be benefits at all because of the government shutdown. So some stores had planned to cut prices for families whose SNAP funds were delayed. But after the warnings, many backed down. One farm stand in Baltimore even canceled a half-off deal for SNAP users out of fear they'd be punished. So instead of fixing the funding gap or, feeding hungry families, Trump's administration is telling stores to stand down and to treat everyone exactly the same, even when millions can't afford to eat or feed their families. So this is happening right now, guys. Like today. And it shows just how far the White House is willing to go to enforce control, even at the cost of American families going hungry. How is this America first?
Trump just punished grocery stores for helping hungry families. Some grocery stores were doing the right thing, giving a few dollars off for families using SNAP. Just small discounts meant to help people stretch their benefits when everything costs more than it did last month. But now Trump's USDA has warned those stores that if they keep offering those discounts, they could lose their right to accept SNAP entirely. And guess what's happening? Some stores are already pulling those discounts back out of fear. Think about that. The government isn't angry at corporations raising prices. They're angry at stores trying to make food cheaper. They're not protecting fairness. They're protecting control. They're calling it the equal treatment rule. But equality isn't when rich and poor both have the right to pay full price. It's when the poor actually have a fair shot to eat. Over 40 million rely on SNAP just to survive. And Trump's administration is now threatening a few stores that actually care enough to help. And that's not leadership. That's cruelty disguised as policy. If you care about this, share it, because silence is exactly what they're counting on.
If you wanted to know what the latest was with SNAP benefits, the president has personally gone and sent a memo to all grocery stores that were offering small discounts to those SNAP and EBT recipients. While we wait for SNAP benefits to be restored, he sent a memo to all the grocery stores in the U.S. that they're not allowed to do that and they have to stop that immediately. That's our current administration. He also is ignoring the fact that two, not one, but two federal judges ordered that SNAP benefits need to be restored immediately, that it is unlawful. He said he couldn't understand the language the federal judges used. It was Dick and Jane language of do it by this date, pronto, immediately. So, in short, this is outright cruelty. It's disgusting, and this is our current government trying to starve its own citizens. If you're not outraged, you should be by now.
So when stores can't feed the hungry and kindness is seen as a crime, something is seriously wrong with the system. Remember, it starts with the poor today, but who is next tomorrow? This is just the beginning. Well, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Please do well to like, share, and of course, subscribe to keep the channel moving. Till next time.